Hello friends, this video on plant growth and development part 18 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam.
So with this we have reached towards the end of this lesson, so it is question time now. So let us quickly look at some of the questions. So let us look at question number 1. It says, why is not any one parameter good enough to demonstrate growth throughout the life of a flowering plant? Now, as I mentioned before, that when we talk about growth, what are we talking about? When we say that a plant is growing, we might be talking about so many different things. A plant might grow because the number of cells are increasing, and that can happen due to cell division. A plant can grow because the cells are elongating. Each particular cell is increasing in size. A plant can also grow if there is an increase in weight of the plant. So the weight is increasing, and that increase in weight can be due to more number of cells or due to increase in the protoplasm. Now, how do we measure this increase in protoplasm? So there can be many very different parameters. So some of these parameters which indicate plant growth are the cell number, cell elongation, area, volume, dry weight, fresh tissue weight. When I say dry weight is you take the plant but you remove all the water from it and then you weigh it. So that is the dry weight. So sometimes there is an increase in the dry weight which also tells you that yes, there has been a growth. Similarly, the fresh tissue weight, that is along with water you weigh it and then you find an increase in the weight. So these are all different parameters which can indicate a plant growth. Now we cannot consider any one parameter, that is because since there are multiple parameters which affect growth. So if only one parameter fulfills the criteria, for example, only if the cell number is increasing, but we also need to see that it is not only cell division which is taking place. Cell division will increase the number of cells, but those cells should get matured properly, they should differentiate, they should actually form fully differentiated cells which are performing specific functions. So only increase in cell number will not ensure that it is actually growing. So multiple parameters are there to demonstrate specific growth of a particular plant, and also different plants, different parts of a plant. For example, if you take leaves, if you take roots, both of them grow in different ways. So you have different ways of measuring them. For example, when you talk about a leaf, maybe the area might give you an idea about the growth because the area of the leaf would increase. But if you talk about roots, the area might not give you that good an idea. So different parts of the plant also grow in different ways. So that is why multiple parameters have been taken into consideration. The next question, both growth and differentiation in higher plants are open. Comment. Now we spoke about the open form of growth. So something which is indeterminate, which continues throughout, that is called open form. Now when you talk about growth in higher plants, growth happens through the meristematic tissues which can be either the apical meristem causing vertical growth or the lateral meristem causing lateral growth. Now these cells continuously divide to form new cells, and hence it is an open form of growth. So it doesn't really stop at a certain point of time. So it keeps on happening. Similarly, if you talk about differentiation, it is not only about cell dividing and forming new cells. The new cells which are formed after division, they get matured, they differentiate to attain a permanent shape and size so that they can perform specific function. And this process also continues. So this is a differentiation of open form. So you can take examples of all the cells which you see in a plant. Maybe the xylem vessel cells, the parenchyma cells, sclerenchyma cells, phloem cells. So all of them have different shapes and sizes because they all differentiated in different ways to perform specific functions, and these processes continue throughout. That is why they are open form of growth and differentiation. Question number 3. Both a short day plant and a long day plant can produce a flower simultaneously in a given place. Explain. So if you talk about a long day and a short day plant, they really don't have anything to do with the place. So place really doesn't matter. What matters is the duration for which they are exposed to light. So maybe the same place, the place remains the same, but if in some season the days are long, then the long day plants will flower, and if sometimes the nights are long, then the short day plants will flower. So yes, of course, they can flower simultaneously in a given place. Can flower at the same place if appropriate photo periods are made available. So it depends on the photo periods. So when I say a long day and a short day, long day and a short day, if that criteria is fulfilled at a given place, then yes, of course, both of them will be able to flower. Short day plant would need more exposure to night, and long day plants would need less exposure to night. So that means if the duration of the day and the night are balanced in such a way that both of them can flower. Question number 4. Which one of the following plant growth regulators would you use if you are asked to induce rooting in a twig? So which particular growth hormone helps in initiating rooting in a stem cutting? You remember, if you cut a stem of a plant and you want to plant it as a new plant, so some growth hormone helps to initiate the rooting. Yes, that is auxin. I have discussed all these things while I was teaching these growth regulators. Quickly ripen a fruit. Remember the experiment related to its discovery? It was found that when the unripened bananas were kept with the ripened orange, the bananas also ripened. So that happened because of ethylene. Yes, right. Delay leaf senescence. So it delays it. So it has to be a growth promoting hormone because it is trying to delay the aging. That is cytokinin. Induce growth in axillary buds. So inducing growth in axillary buds actually means it promotes lateral growth. Now auxins promote vertical growth. So auxin is not the one. Which is the other growth promoting hormone which promotes lateral growth? It is cytokinin. That is why cytokinin and auxin together can actually grow tissue culture in such a way that it can regenerate the whole plant. Because one will promote vertical growth and the other will promote lateral growth. Bolt a rosette plant. What will help it? Yes, of course, the gibberellin. Induce immediate stomatal closure in leaves. What induces to close the stomata? Something which doesn't want good for the plant. It is an inhibitor and it is nothing but abscisic acid. Let us look at the next question. Would a defoliated plant respond to photoperiodic cycle? Why? First of all, what do you mean by a defoliated plant? A plant which has no leaves. So all the leaves have either fallen off or it has been cut off. So there are no leaves in the plant. So any such plant, would it be able to respond to photoperiodic cycle? What actually is the cause behind this phenomenon of photoperiodicity? The phytochromes. And where are the phytochromes present? They are present in the leaves. So if the leaves are not present, so the phytochromes are not there. And if phytochromes are not there, there is nobody to respond to photoperiods. So a defoliated plant will not respond to photoperiodic cycle. The reason being there are no leaves and the photoreceptor called phytochrome is present inside the leaves. So there can be no photoreception without them. And the last question. What would happen if GA3 is applied to rice seedlings? What is GA3? Gibberellic acid. Now, gibberellic acid, you remember the Beckane disease during its discovery, the foolish seedling disease. What happened that time? In the rice paddy, the infected plants started growing really tall. So, due to the presence of this hormone, gibberellin, there will be an increase in height or growth. So, there would be huge increase in growth or height, whatever you call it. It will go extremely abnormally long. Dividing cells stop differentiating. So this means that due to cell division, lot of new cells will be produced, but they will not differentiate to form specific tissues. Because when the cells differentiate, only then they form different tissues like the parenchyma, the sclerenchyma, the collenchyma, or the xylem tissues, the phloem tissues. Now, if they stop differentiating, all these tissues will not be formed. So what will happen? Only the bunch of cells will be left. And the bunch of undifferentiated cells is known as callus. Now, what would happen is, since the tissues and the organs are not formed, too many clump of cells will start gathering inside the body of the organism, and these many unwanted cells, because they will, since they have not differentiated, they will not be able to perform a specific function. They will be nothing but just bunch of cells inside the body. So they will actually start to form clusters, they will form tumor like structures, and they'll keep on dividing. So more and more cells are getting divided, and this can also lead to a situation or a condition like cancer. That is how cancer happens, due to unlimited or uncontrolled division of cells, where the cells do not differentiate to form a specific tissue or a specific organ to perform a specific function. A rotten fruit gets mixed with unripe fruits. Now, whenever you keep a rotten fruit with some unripe fruit, the rotten fruit is something which is already ripened and then it is rotten. So ethylene will be emitted from this rotten fruit, and this ethylene will ripen the unripe fruits, because ethylene is the gas which helps in ripening the fruits. So the unripened fruits will also get ripened. You forget to add cytokinin to the culture medium. Now, if cytokinin is not added, what would happen? Regeneration of the plant will not take place. Now, even though, since let us assume that oxygen is present in the culture medium. So, because of oxygen, growth will take place, but it would not be complete. I mean, cell division will take place, but the tissues which will be formed would not last for a long time. So you will not be able to regenerate the whole plant out of that culture medium. So growth would not be observed. A full-fledged growth would not be observed without cytokinin. So with this, we have reached towards the end of this lesson, and I hope that this lesson on plant growth and development would have helped you to clear your concepts and doubts. So see you all in the next lesson.
Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.